There is a row raging in Nottinghamshire local politics, and it's all to do with one thing. The County Council wants to scrap district and borough councils. You're talking about places like Rushcliffe Borough Council, Mansfield District Council, and replace them with one big body. And that could have serious positives for you. It would be more streamlined for you, and it could also cut costs. One of the areas it seems you've chosen to focus on this evening is Broxtowe. It's an area that, depending on your position, stands to benefit or suffer from the arrival of the High Speed 2 rail route. Lots of people there feel there are economic benefits to the route. Others can't quite stomach the environmental concerns, yet more aren't really convinced it's worthwhile. You voted against the construction of the HS2 rail link from London to Birmingham in 2016. You've since been absent for 2 votes on HS2. How do you weigh up the arguments for an area like Broxtowe, and at heart, are you for or against HS2?
Look, I'm for high-speed rail. I think we need more infrastructure.
The East Midlands currently has the lowest transport spending per head of anywhere in the country. People feel shortchanged here. Apart from HS2, what would you do to better connect our region to the rest of Britain?
Buses and local services and trains.
Labour promising to redistribute the centre of power a little bit, shake things up, move funding, move decision-making powers out of the southeast to places like the Midlands and like the north. What would you do to make sure an area like Nottinghamshire has more of a say in the corridors of power?
I do think that devolution is important, and I want to see devolution to towns, to cities.
A mum from Clifton who's been catching online predators for more than a year by setting up fake social media profiles has turned her attentions to Facebook, where she says an even bigger problem is festering. Jo Stubbs is part of Facebook Hunters, which is tracking down and reporting people who share indecent images of children online. Jo, thanks for joining us. I'm wondering if you can give me some idea of the scale of the problem.
It's immeasurable. It's absolutely massive. There's thousands and thousands of pages, an uncountable amount of people that are involved in all of this.
It's worth putting Facebook's point of view across here. We did contact them. They say they've got a zero tolerance for child exploitation on Facebook. They say that this illegal behaviour is rare on the platform. When they do find it, they immediately remove it and they report it to relevant law enforcement agencies. They also say they work with safety experts around the world. You must come into contact with some fairly horrible stuff that we don't even particularly want to talk about in detail on the television at this time of day. I'm wondering what impact that has on you, what toll that takes on you.
I've just learnt to compartmentalise everything.
Nottinghamshire expats say the EU referendum may mean they have to move back to Britain.
If push comes to shove and we have to return to the UK, so be it, that's what we'll have to do.
Hear more in the second part of Notts TV's EU referendum coverage from Spain. This hurdle overcome in terms of the general election, the next thing to think about is Brexit, 31st of January. What would you say to reassure people in Nottingham South that you want the best deal for them?
Well, I've always said that I want the best deal for the people in Nottingham South. Of course, I wanted the people of Nottingham South, like the rest of the people in the country, to have the final say on any Brexit deal. Having
left Labour, it seems you're no longer going to be an MP, you must be in a position to say things that you weren't once in a position to say, and I wonder if I asked you to let loose on the state of British politics, what you would say.
To be fair, I have been pretty frank about the state of particularly the Labour Party for the last few years. It's one of the reasons that I was being attacked in my local party.
In your opinion, does Jeremy Corbyn need to leave the Labour Party, need to no longer be leader?
What I found was interesting is right up until 9:59 p.m, they were all saying, "Oh, Jeremy Corbyn" was the song. After 10:01 and the exit poll, people were saying, "Oh, what a bad idea it was having Corbyn in charge of the Labour Party." Too late.
It may seem like a Labour win is a sure thing, but that's not to say there won't be sweeping change to the council in the weeks, months and years to come. The council's leader, John Collins, is stepping down after 16 years at the helm, and the Conservatives, should they be elected, are promising sweeping changes to the authority. One of the big results in Nottinghamshire was in Ashfield, where the Ashfield Independents demolished all opposition. There has been a national trend towards votes for independent candidates. They've won more than 250 seats. The Ashfield Independents won 30 of the 35 available seats, with Labour winning 2, the Conservatives 3. After that landslide, I spoke to the party's leader, Jason Zadrozny.
Obviously, I'm delighted. You couldn't be anything else but absolutely over the moon, winning 30 out of 35 seats.
But first, a controversial new scheme aimed at reintegrating sex offenders back into society. It's caused serious debate across Notts this week and attracted national interest. The Corbett Centre for Prisoner Reintegration has opened in the city this week, a partnership involving Nottingham Trent University and a charity, the Safer Living Foundation. It aims to support people who've left prison with education, skills training and emotional support. The goal is to provide the tools to live a productive and offence-free life. Here to talk about it are two of the people organising the project. Professor Belinda Winder is the university's head of Sexual Offences, Crime and Misconduct Research Unit. Dr Nicholas Blagden is a senior lecturer in psychology and also a member of their research unit. Belinda, I'm wondering if you can explain to me the need for a facility like this.
Yeah, so sexual abuse in society is a big problem. We have about 14,000 people in prison convicted of sexual offences.
Some people would say that any funding, any volunteer hours, any resources that are available should be going towards supporting survivors. What do you say to that?
Well, indeed, we cannot emphasise enough how much we empathise with the victims and survivors of sexual abuse.